Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Jacqueline Jackson. I am your watercolor swatchess for today. I'm finishing off my Schmincke swatches, and as you know, or may not know, if you're just joining me for the first time, I'm actually doing it live with you guys on Facebook and on YouTube. So, really excited that you guys are here with me. And hopefully, if you hear any dogs, it's just because it's almost walking time and they will certainly start to annoy us because they see that I'm busy. So, I might have to take a short, uh, a short walk or walk them out of my art room. So, anyway, what I have here are my blues. And by the way, guys, I just want to remind you that we do weekly giveaways at the group page on Facebook. So you definitely want to go and check that out because that's where we will have all of the giveaways for like challenges, painting challenges, and even people who use the affiliate links because that's how we fund them. And it's really exciting to be able to do that. We have a Jackson's affiliate and also an Amazon affiliate just for those purposes, just so that we can actually just generate something for the group pages and for everybody who wants to participate. And I think that that's been really wonderful so far. So let's go and get to swatching, shall we? Now, these ones that you see here with these little, I need 282. These ones that you see with the little half pans, those ones come in those two sets. So like on Schmincke, there's two limited edition sets out right now. And one is, I actually pulled these out, but one is the botanical set and it has two blues in it. So it has ultra finest and Prussian. And the other one is a blue set. And the blue set, like the seascape set, has a bunch, all the rest of the blues that you see here, including this limited edition ice blue. And those are really fun palettes. You can customize them and get extra pans or just order some watercolor and, just add to it. I think that's awesome. I love that ability. You know what I mean? It's like so cool to me. So this is Delft Blue. Delft Blue is, to me, it reminds me of a Prussian blue, but I really love it. I've only ever experienced this one through Schmincke, and it's really unique. It is a single pigment blue, and Delft Blue is, I would say, very inky. It has a high tinting strength, but it also makes like really kind of like moody blue skies. Also, please let me know if the colors look really good on the screen because I changed my camera system this week, and so that I could stream every day. I'm hoping that I've adjusted everything enough so that I have really, really super nice color. I think I did. I think I'm doing pretty good. So you can see that re-wet off the doff cart really well. So if you've been following the swatches, how I've been doing them is I put a bunch of the color on just to show you how it re-wets and how crazy bold Schmincke is. You can see this is indigo, and you do not have to do anything to get this one to re-wet. It just wants to be there, and it's just beautiful. This is a mixed pigment of PB15 and PB8. I think PB88. I have to look it up. I wrote it there. But look at how crazy it is. It's just gorgeous. Very high tinting strength. One of my favorite indigos, actually. One of my favorite ones used to be Winsor Newton, but lately I've been really kind of disappointed in their brand, and I guess it's because the watercolors that I have from them are rather old, and I haven't replenished them in a long time because I use Schmincke all the time now, and I have so many other colors in the studio. I just haven't gone back. So when I did recently get a dot card to swatch everything, it was all so pale. It was like really different. So I don't know. I really don't know what to think. The next one is dark blue. PB60. Of all the brands that I'm around, I can say this. Schmincke has the most amount of blues because between the granulating colors and all of these lovely ones in their main line, they just have so many to choose from. I don't really find that I'm missing anything in this range. If I go through here and I see something that I'm missing, I will let you know. So the dark blue as opposed to the Delft blue, they are slightly different. Like this one is semi-opaque, but they're both the same PB60. So they're going to have that same like dark denim look to them. But can you see it? The dark blue. Let me put the light behind me so that you maybe can see this a little better, because it is rather bright. What? There we go. This one's semi-transparent. As you can see, they're very, very dark, inky, beautiful, beautiful, rich colors. They make great mixes because they're single pigment. And the Delft blue is... Where is it? Delft blue. Is a little more blue, right? So it pulls a little bit more blue, where this one pulls a little more ink color. So just slightly different. I would say the Delft blue is a bit more cobalt looking. Yeah, a little more bluey. So I usually use Delft blue for skies because I like the smoky kind of look on the first part, and then it goes there. Hi Barb, how are you? What is your main reason for choosing the brands that you like most, and why wouldn't you just stick with one brand of paint? You know, I'm an obsessed watercolor artist. I paint with watercolor exclusively, and I do it professionally, and I also teach, so I have classes. So the curiosity is my big thing. I cannot not try a watercolor. I have to try it and just see what it's like. Like just recently I brought in M-Gram, and I hadn't really bothered with M-Gram just because I have a lot of Sennelier, and I really like Sennelier, and those are honey based as well. And I also have Mission Gold, and those are honey based. So I just kind of was, you know, on the fence, and they're really pricey too. And I was like, it just never really, my curiosity was not piqued. But then I saw a review or something on M-Gram, and the 10 box set popped up. And finally, after all these years, I literally just opened this set, right? So just to try it. And I was really surprised. The colors were really vibrant. They were rich. They are so sticky though. And literally I can't get the blue off my fingers, and I can't get the red off my fingers. So there is a crazy tinting thing that annoys me a bit with some of the colors. I don't have that happen with the Schmincke. I don't know why. It doesn't stain like that even when they're staining. This brand to me overall is the most consistent brand to paint with. I found that all the other brands that I've ever used, I have to pick and choose my colors. But overall, curiosity, access to more and different colors. Like I recently discovered the granulating shades from White Knight. And although White Knight, you have to pick and choose your colors there. There's not, all of them are not the same. Not like Schmincke here, where every single color is great and it's all really consistent within the brand. White Knight has amazing, like maybe 4 or 5 colors that are great, like carmine, but the real gold is in their super granulating colors. Those are the ones that they have some real wins, you know, like these are the ones up the top at my granulating page, like the lilac mist, love it, right? The hematite mist, love that. The gray blue mist, the gray rose mist. Let me show you the gray rose mist, and the blue mist and aquamarine, also green shades. So I was so in love with those colors that I actually put up a whole granulating course on my website at jacquelinejacks.com. And I just painted the granulating colors from the White Knights. And then I show you how to make your own version of granulating colors. So if I wouldn't have stepped outside of Schmincke and been open to looking at colors, I wouldn't have found these granulating ones. Now, are they better than the Schmincke? Not as far as brightness, but they have some qualities like this one where one color gives you grays and pinks, or this one blues and cobalts, right? So there are some by Schmincke that I love, and of course Schmincke is my #1 brand, but like I would have missed out on some of these beautiful ones that aren't exactly in the Schmincke line. So ones that would be close from Schmincke would be like the glacier blue, the glacier turquoise. Those are super granulating and I love them. The deep sea line is also gorgeous. The deep sea has like deep sea green, glacier green, and then the shires are really nice too. There's some shires that are so, so beautiful. So there's things from every line that I find that are great. It's just that overall, Schmincke, everything I find that I love. I don't really find any watercolor on Schmincke that doesn't re-wet well, that doesn't have a really nice highlight fast rating, that doesn't have the kind of punch in the pigment without inks or dyes that I'm used to. And it gives me such a wide, huge range of color. Now, I'm not going to say that White Knights doesn't have, you know, their wins. They have these super granulated wins. They're really good. And they're not too many colors, right? But it was enough for me to do a whole class on it. And I really was inspired by it. And I love the way they paint. And I like the fact that these are so inexpensive. So they're accessible for real beginners who just maybe want to learn something and want to come out with something great in this class, but don't want to commit to, you know, investing hundreds and hundreds of dollars in watercolor if they're not on sale or they can't access them. Most people can get those White Knights. Daniel Smith, the reason why I don't promote Daniel Smith a lot is because there are only colors that I like, and some of them are not light fast. So I can't really like on the tagline of every single thing that I say, oh, I like this color, but, right? So I find that Schmincke is always my go-to because I never have to think about what's working and what's not working. Some of the Daniel Smith colors don't re-wet well. They're only good in tubes and not great in pans. Some of them are not as vivid as they need to be. Like, you know, Amazonite Genuine, that is really not a great performing color, even though it's so expensive and it's wonderful, right? But it's just not. They don't have a good, strong viridium. There's so many gaps in the line. The Sleeping Beauty Turquoise, major disappointment in my view, right? Even their Cerulean Blue, major disappointment compared to other brands. So although there are some that I love, especially like the greens, like I like the sap green, the serpentine green, the green apatite genuine, the jadeite. Some of these I really like. A lot of them I don't. And some of them streak and some are hard to re-wet. Every single thing in Schmincke performs well. It's all brilliant. It's all bright. So, and I just recently shared a set that you guys could get for $64 for 15 colors. And that really isn't a set you're going to outgrow. You can add things to it, you know. So I try to really make an educated decision and recommendation, but also make sure that I can paint anything I want whenever I want and not think about, oh, I love that color, but I can't use that from this brand. I have to go over here, you know. Schmincke, I don't have that at all. Everything, as you can see, goes on smoothly. I don't have any streaking. There's no re-wetting issue. And it's always bold and beautiful color with the ability, mostly transparent, mostly single pigment, and the ability to go from very, very light shades to darks through glazing. Sennelier also has that quality, and I love a lot of their colors. The problem is they don't have a lot of colors to choose from. So still can't beat Schmincke, and that's where I am. Not a nice long explanation, right? But there is a reason. So these ones are the Ultramarine. There's Ultramarine Finest and Ultramarine French. The Ultramarine French actually gives you a really beautiful shade. It's like they're both PB29, but I would say one is more granulating than the other and one is more smooth. So In the anniversary edition palette, there's a lot of really beautiful floral colors in there that I did a live stream on just recently this past week. And you guys went crazy and bought all of them. So all of those beautiful watercolors are going to new homes, obviously. So I hope you guys enjoy them. I think you will, for sure. The French Ultramarine by Schmincke is the granulating one. So you can use this in your kit to add granulation to your colors. And you can see as far as color, they're slightly similar. You know, they're very, very similar. I would say the granulating one leans a bit more than the ultra finest. It leans a little bit more, but still beautiful. That one's really wet, so let's just dry this off a bit so I can get to that lovely color, and we'll go over it again. So the brush I'm using here, because I know you guys are going to ask me about the brushes, these are Neptune. I love the Neptune Princeton brushes for swatching and for doing loose florals because it just gives me that beautiful equal distribution of color and water. I don't really run out of color on my brush, and I'm able to get really bold washes as well as nice light washes as you're seeing here within the same load on the brush. So I can start out with a heavier wash, and I can, there's enough water on the brush to keep going and end up with a nice lighter wash. So it's a great first swipe brush. Cobalt Blue Light. So this is Cobalt Blue Hue, which is a mix of PB29 and PW4. And this is Cobalt Blue Light. Cobalt Blue Light comes in the Seaside set, which is such a pretty set. I mean, you could literally get that Seaside limited edition set in that tin, which makes a good travel tin. Keep the blues in there, and then just add like a lemon yellow. You could add a transparent, or you could just add one transparent yellow. Then you could add magenta, permanent carmine, and a scarlet red, and maybe a purple, but you can make the purple from the red and the blues in there. And you would have everything you needed really in that one set, and that's not really an expensive, you know, it's like an under $100 purchase, and then just add a couple of colors that you probably have on hand. You'd have all these beautiful blues. Mountain blue is an interesting blue, and I use it a lot for skies because I like the light wash of it. It's a lot more transparent than it pretends to be because it has PW5 in it, as well as the Ultramarine, which is PB29, and a little PG7, just a touch. So a lot of times I will use PG7 on my skies and they'll be really beautiful and bright, you know? Yeah, well, I definitely, because let's see, I guess since you're a professional watercolor artist, you can afford to try different brands. Yeah, and I'm also like, I paint every day, right? So, and I have so many students that ask me about the different colors, and I want to give, I not only am curious and a watercolor collector, but you know, some people collect shoes. I used to collect shoes. Now I'm obsessed with watercolor. But I want to be able to give my best opinion. So whenever I can, I will purchase a new set and give it a try. And if I don't like it and it's not for me, I'll hand it over to someone else. Maybe they'll get, you know, a really good experience with it and love it. Because I'm quite picky, right? Because if I'm going to sell art or if I want my colors nice and bold, I don't want to have to work that hard to get there. I feel that watercolor, you know, should not be all opaque like Kuretake. It shouldn't give you a hard time. It shouldn't be shiny when it's in mouse tone, and it shouldn't be powdery or have any kind of fillers lurking in there, you know? So I am picky, but at the same time, I think I have a really good like opinion about what's going to give people a hard time and what's going to be easier for them to paint with long term. And then as they decide that they just love it so much, or if budget allows, they can pick up, you know, sets. And I'm in a position right now where 30,000 people are on my Facebook group page. And that's 30,000 people asking me what I would recommend to them. without being able to sit down and really have much of a conversation with me about which colors are good, which are not good. So to me, my money is always using Schmincke, and if I can get them at like the cost down to like $4 or $5 a pan, which I just recently did on, on sales that I recommended for you guys, I can't see where you can't, really give it a try and do well. If you do like to paint with a ton of colors, um, then of course you're going to have to buy a larger set, maybe save up or invest in it. But I would say start with a smaller set by Schmincke and enjoy the colors and get to know them really well. And then add colors. So like that 30th anniversary tin with 15 colors for $64 is a wonderful deal on some colors that are vivid. They will not wear out quickly. I mean, you'd have to do a lot of painting to get through these little pans. It's not like they're not like cheap paints where you're using so much of the paint in order to build up the pigment and to get a good result, to not look washed out. These are, professional grade watercolors. So when you lay the color down, maybe there's a dry shift depending on how much water you use. But as a whole, there's not really that much of a dry shift that you would notice a huge impact on your painting. Like, in other words, if I take a nice amount of paint, even out of my pans and not from my tubes, I know that I can lay down some really great bold colors and I'm not going to have to go back over it and over it. Some of the great examples are like this. So like this is White Nights, which I think performed amazingly well. Look at how bright and bold this one color is. So this is the, what is this? This is the aquamarine color. I love that color. It's gold. And I use some Kuretake gold. And this is my Schmincke. So I did not have to go over this. This is one swipe using this brush. So like I just literally got the brush loaded with color and I just moved it around, and as the layers dry, I went and did another like swipe next to it so that I could get like these cut layers here so that I'd have in any areas that were lighter, because the water was more, I could just boom and like kind of build out my flower that way. So if I were using a really cheap paint or something, I might have to use a lot of paint to get this, and then it might blotch or streak rather than develop into this really nice smooth kind of painting. And I just don't want to have to work that hard or struggle. With that being said, I do like to paint with Mission Gold. They are a lot of fun, but they don't streak. They're more of a dye-based paint. So it's a great thing if you can get if you want a lot of colors on hand, by all means, buy some Mission Gold and enjoy it and just have a really fun time with the palette. You can always refill the palette moving forward. They come in a great set of colors that are really bold and really fun to paint with. They are like more inky dye-based ones. So I think I just poured them in one of these. I believe this is it. Yeah. So this here and this here and this here, these are the Mission Gold ones. And they are just bold and beautiful and bright and so much fun to paint with. So I have like a ton of them and I still paint with them. I still have like the best time with them. So I would be fine, even though those are a dye base, but they're not opaque. So like the difference between, for me, Kuretake and Mission Gold, I would rather have Mission Gold than Kuretake because the Japanese watercolors are meant to paint a little differently than the way the Mission Gold is designed. Mission Gold has a very high tint and a high pigment, but at the same time, it's a cheaper brand. I don't find that they fade at all. They are light fast. They're just dye based. So you're going to paint a little differently, but you're going to get a really big payout, even in light washes with Mission Gold. Now, Schmincke, I find, is exactly that. It's a big payout with very little color. So you're not using or having to use a lot of color. You don't have to crazy, scrub to re-wet them. They're just there for you and they're dependable. That's how I come to my decision. It's kind of like it chooses me. I don't really choose it, right? Because I just don't find the qualities that I'm looking for anywhere else. Helio Cerulean is a gorgeous blue, by the way. Isn't that just so pretty? Paris blue is also really pretty, and we had done Prussian blue before that. So I need 481. Let me see. Where is that one? It's 402. 492. I know I have it. Helio 481. Let's just go to the dot card. 41. They're out of number order. I don't know why. Every time I look at it, I'm like, what? Oh, there it is. So this is cerulean blue hue. So I'm just pulling this right off the dot card. You can see how bold and bright this tiny little bit of paint is. I didn't even pre-wet it. I could paint a whole sky or painting with this one little bit of dot. That just really goes to show you too that what you can expect from this brand is that payout in color. So, and also keep in mind, if you do buy tubes, I like to buy tubes unless I get a new tin or something, or a wood box set. But I like to buy tubes because you get like 7 pans from a tube. You know, so divide that up by like maybe $25, and that's really not that expensive. It's just that you have to commit to certain colors. So a dot card is really handy, or looking at a review like this one, you know, as we describe the colors and talk about what we use them for. This is Cobalt Cerulean. It's PB36 and it's semi-opaque. It's got a nice granulation. Another thing about this brand is there are a lot of granulating single pigment colors to choose from. If you mix 2 granulating single pigments together, you will get a super granulating pigment. And you can just play and have fun. Like you could mix this Cobalt Cerulean with like Scarlet Red or any of the quinacridone, and you would get a really, really beautiful granulating purple. $4.95 is Helio Turquoise. This is my favorite turquoise. So Sennelier has a turquoise that is insane. It's so beautiful. It is called Phthalo Turquoise, so it's more green leaning. It's with PG7 and PB15.3. I just want to recommend it because it made me think of that. And this is the turquoise version of that. So let me see if I can lower my light. So this is the Phthalo Turquoise. It's so pretty in paintings. It's just gorgeous. It goes from like a really light shade to the darker shade. And then this is the Helio Turquoise, and the Helio Turquoise is just such a lovely, lovely turquoise. My lighting is changing in here a bit, so okay, we're doing good. So we're gonna let that dry. Cobalt Turquoise. This is my favorite Cobalt Turquoise because some of them streak and can be hard to re-wet. Like the Daniel Smith one drives me crazy. It's just so opaque and so hard to re-wet. But this one I really like. This is a granulating Cobalt Turquoise, and you can go really light with it. Also, it's great in skies. It's great as it's just semi-opaque, so you can use it as a touch of color on top of a dry painting. And I really like the Payne's Gray here. This Payne's Gray reminds me of the old Indigo by Winsor & Newton. I used to use it in school. I used to love it. It was like this bluish indigo, but I can't get it anymore because when I buy their indigo now, it doesn't have the same qualities. I don't know why. This has been my conversation lately, is why their paints have changed so much. I guess because they have new ownership or something. All right, so let's go back and we're going to just kind of like layer a little bit. Cobalt Azure, PB36. So I'm just getting some on my brush. And I just want to show you the payout. so that you can work light or dark with this. We're going to do another glaze of it soon. Let's pick up this one, $4.98. What's $4.98? Dark blue. Oops. Where is it? There it is. It's right in front of me. So this is PB60. This is that really dark inky blue. So I like doing my swatches this way and letting them dry in between glazes so that you can see that there is so much glazing that can happen. And that's an important quality to me. I don't know if it's an important quality to everyone. So here's the actual indigo from Schmincke. So you can see you can have this really light gray tone from it, like a blue gray from it, and you can build it up. Cobalt blue light, $4.87. Semi-transparent and such a beautiful cobalt. This is that shade that you see a lot in professional watercolor artist paintings. Cobalt blue hue is made with PB29 and PW4, so it's a little more opaque than cobalt blue light, but it does make those bright, like bright blue, like bright light blue skies in cobalt. So that's a good use for it. Ultramarine finest goes from, you can really build this color up. I'm going to show you that because we're going to work on it. French ultramarine, again, same pigment. But very, very bold and a big payout. Just going to peel back a little bit of the color so that I have room for glazing. One thing though, let me remind you, is when you have a paint that is this versatile, you can glaze multiple times, where a lot of them you'll eventually tap out, right? And it'll get muddy, or it'll get like so opaque that it just won't look like watercolor anymore. This is one of those paints, and one of the reasons why I do use the brand is because I can glaze like 10 times. Sennelier is also one that does that. I just don't find as many colors, so I get as many of their colors as I can. I love their reds. They have so many beautiful reds. I'll be reviewing their reds on the channel very, very soon too. So, you know, depends on, I think, where you are and what you have access to. You know, through Jackson's is where I order all of my Schmincke. Paris blue is so gorgeous. It really is so pretty. So as far as all of these blues, you don't need them all. But like I said, if you want an experience with the blues, I would get the Seaside set from Schmincke. I think it's still able to be ordered, and you get a lot of the blues for you to play with, and then just add a couple of, like, a blue red and a pink red and maybe one yellow. You'll be able to make all your greens. So it's a very small investment to be able to paint with Schmincke, and you'd have the tin moving forward, and then, you know, stay informed through our group page, because that's where I just put this in the wrong place. That's where I will share all of the sales as they come up. So let me see if I can remove this. It's supposed to go here. Usually when I make a mistake on Schmincke, I can pretty much fix it. but I don't know about this color because I think this one is more staining than other ones. However, they're both cerulean, so they're going to be close. There's just a textural difference in them. Okay. It's not bad. Not bad. I guarantee I will at least screw up one of these. So this is the cerulean. So you see how light it goes from light to very, very, very bold. I switched brushes, by the way. I'm using my lifting brush, and this is my Aqua Elite. It's like very much like a sable. It's got more snap. Made by Princeton. The two new brush lines by Princeton, or newest brush lines by Princeton, are the Aqua Elite and the Neptune. And I love them. I have both of them. I don't really use the Heritage at all. My old Heritage is, I use those for gouache because they're much more suited for gouache than watercolor. I like brushes where you actually get a nice amount of water on the brush and they just don't hold enough water for me. So why struggle? That's the Cobalt Turquoise glaze. So pretty. 787 is my Payne's Gray. So it definitely has that gorgeous gray with that bluish tint. But again, you can completely build up the color. What didn't I go? Phthalo Blue. 44. Let's do another one of this. Oh, I did want to tell you on the group page, guys, I announced today that I was going to do some printables for you. So I'm going to start with floral printables, and I should hopefully have some out this evening. I'm hoping to anyway. It's amazing how the French Ultra has so much more of a purple cast to it, you know? Isn't that amazing? It's the same hue, yet it's got more of a purple lean. And the Ultra Finest doesn't have as much of a purple lean. But it still does. Like, if you look at the dot cards, they're really similar. They're these two here. But this one is almost more cobalty, you know, like it kind of goes a different way, where this one's very, very purpley. 93. What do you think of the matte? Did you notice the matte, guys? I have another matte underneath me. It's really pretty. I'll lift it up once I get all the colors on here. So we have 494. Oh, I just did that one. Back to 496. 496. Just what I get. They're like out of order. The PW4. Oh, it's 486. Cobalt blue hue. And that's the payload right there on the third glaze. Or you could just put more on your brush and paint first time out. Beautiful. Look at that craziness. I can actually get more. This is not all it's got. It actually will give you more on another glaze. And you can keep going. Oh, need more water on the brush. See what I mean about the Aqua Elite? You get dry brushing effects really fast with that one, where you don't. Let me switch back to the Neptune. And the Heritage is even worse. I literally can't even get it to hold water for me. It's just not as fun to paint with for my personal likes. This is the Mountain Blue. I think if you're looking for a dependable sky that's not overly granulating and you like kind of a muted look. Mountain blue is such a cool color to use. It's really pretty. It's mixed with 3. So if you're gonna, I wouldn't use it to make greens, although you could, but it's gonna get a little more. So here, hopefully it won't contaminate my yellow. So if I want to make greens, so like say we use lemon yellow, you can still make greens with this blue, even though it's made of 3 colors. It will just kind of give you not a lot of play. Like you don't want to keep mixing it with other things because you're dealing with 3 pigments in this one, but it's still a very clear, beautiful color. It'll just kind of give you an opaque granulation kind of look for the greens. And it's not my favorite green maker, but it is a very soft, subtle green maker. It's mixed with lemon yellow. You could mix it with a warmer yellow too. But again, I have other ones that I really prefer to mix greens with. This is much more like suited for skies. I'm going to clean up this line here. Another thing that you can do, and I'm not sure if your watercolor lifts well, but see that line, how that was kind of bleeding because I let the water, it didn't dry enough. I'm just using a damp brush to straighten out that bleed line. And that is a quality of Schmincke that I don't get in all of the brands. I can't do it with all of them. Some of them I have a real hard time doing it. So this is Phthalo Sapphire is a gorgeous sapphire. It is very, very bright and bold, and you know, it's got that phthalo payload to it that will just save any mix. So phthalo green and phthalo blue will literally save a muddy mix. If ever there was 2 paints to have in your palette, I would say green first if you were only going to choose one, because I have saved so many muddy. In fact, we did the live streams. If you look back on the live streams and look through some of them, I think it was one of them, like maybe the M-gram one where I used the phthalo, yes, because it has the phthalo green in there. So I used the phthalo green to bring life back to a muddy mix, and you were able to see that done on that live stream. Cobalt Azure. So right now, guys, I'm just glazing through and building up the glazes on these blues. Next video, I'm actually going to be doing some drawing for you. The next color video, I'm going to be doing the rest of the dot card for Schmincke. And then on YouTube, I have some Daniel Smith ones. So lots and lots of things going on for sure. Okay, so let's go back to the mountain blue. I should be able to glaze this into that final glaze. So what this actually taught us here about the watercolor is how it performs well in 50% water. So you can see the tinting strength. We saw that it glazes well without becoming too opaque or too muddy. It is a easy watercolor to manage. It doesn't run away from you like Core will really run away from you. And as you build up the glazes, all of these beautiful blues, nothing becomes like muddy, like, and really so much, you know, that you just annoyed with it. I would say annoyed with it. Paris blue, such a cool blue, and look at how dark I can actually bring Paris blue to. Would you ever guess you get this beautiful like lavender kind of look to this really, really neat, like it looks like a sapphire actually. It's really exciting. Prussian blue, I love Prussian. it's hard to find a nice Prussian, but I think Schmincke has the most beautiful Prussian blue and Prussian green. But looking at all these colors, there's so many good ones. Like Paris blue, actually, Prussian's got a little more granulation. Paris blue, I love the fact that it goes from the lavender shade, and I don't know if you can see, but I'll hold this closer in just a second. It has almost like a lavender undertone to it, going to that really bold sapphire blue. So that's a real standout color for me. And then Helio Cerulean is always a standout for me. I use this one a lot because I can get that really bright sky color from it, and it mixes really well with others. So it plays well with others. Helio Turquoise. This is the one that's very much like the Sennelier quality. This is a gorgeous layering color. Beautiful for everything from cityscapes, to florals. This one is nice to build up and just add that really bold opaque turquoise on top of something, like maybe say you have tall buildings or something, and you want to just add bang, like a little bang to your watercolor painting. Then you would whip out the cobalt turquoise. Ice blue, literally you're not seeing anything because it's literally ice blue. It is a white blue. This is only available in the ocean set. It's very, very pastel-y blue. What I like about it is rather than white, you have this blue shade, like that's like just icy blue, right? Can you see it now? Kind of see it. And you can take like any of your colors, like mountain blue, and literally get that like washy kind of really pastel-y blue shade that's almost like a gouache. It's just really cool, but it's a watercolor, so it has the qualities of the watercolors. Isn't that pretty? So that's mountain blue and the ice blue. The ice blue is one of their special edition colors. One more question. What tape are you using, and did you have to cut it to be so thin? Oh, no, yeah. No, that's linked up in my store. Let me give you a link for it. I use just this one kind of tape. It comes in different sizes. So this is the thinnest one, the 1/4 inch. Let me see if I can find, I usually have a store link here. I have an Amazon supply page with all of my favorite supplies, and I keep it there so I can always find the exact same ones and I can share it with you guys. There you go. I just shared it in the chat. It says Studio Supplies on the YouTube chat there. So yeah, so it comes, let me see. This is the blue one, but I've tried different companies. I would go with the one that's on the link because it's not too sticky, so it doesn't tear. And then this is the green one. I like the blue one. The blue one I never have trouble with. The green one sticks a little bit more. It's a little stronger. I definitely wouldn't put the green one on a cheap paper, because it would probably be too sticky. You'd have to use a little heating tool. Like I have this in the studio, and I use this to heat up anything. Like if I want to speed dry something on a layer, like we have a transparent class, and that really works for the transparency, like just to get layers quickly, so I'm not waiting 20 minutes each time. So where am I? Do I need one more? 481. Now I have these all everywhere. 790. 790. No, that's not 790. 485. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do one more glaze on the indigo. The indigo does have a little bit of a dry shift because I always paint with it dark. I don't really paint with it light. And I just noticed that here, that's maybe one color that has a dry shift because I don't remember if I really went that light or not. I always paint with it dark, so it's not something I would use the light like a light gray. I would go with Payne's gray if I was going to go for a light gray. And then 482. Now I have them all pulled aside because I'm getting ready to pick up this sheet. I wanted to do one more on the Delft blue, but I don't know what I did with it. Yeah, see how dark it is? I think when it dries, we're going to see more of a dry shift on that one. So everything's looking really good though. I'm really like still seeing a lot of consistency here with what I'm used to, and all of these blues. There isn't really one that I wouldn't recommend. As far as the basics, what I would recommend for you guys is this Phthalo Blue Sapphire. I absolutely adore it. I love the fact that it goes so bold and so bright. You can do it mixing. It's great mixing color, great for florals, great to make really bright greens. Then, of course, one of the Ultramarine Finest you would want, whether it be granulating or non-granulating. I would choose the Phthalo Blue Sapphire over the regular Phthalo Blue of this line, even though I use the Phthalo Blue constantly. The Phthalo Blue in this line is a bit dark and not as bright. The Phthalo Green is really good to save money mixes. I would probably like to play with the Sapphire more, because see how the Sapphire leans a little more green? It is the more green of the phthalos, and this is more blue of the phthalos. So phthalo blue comes in a green shade and a blue shade in both in the Schmincke, as well as I think a lot of other lines it does, right? 479. This is Helio Cerulean, which is in my palette as well. This is more of the green. You know, this one is a different shade. I love this one, but I love this one too. They are so different. This one is more warm and this one is more cool. Both of them can be used to brighten colors, and I'll just show you right now since I have this one on. Oh my gosh. My paper is slightly different. So here is the Helio Cerulean. Gorgeous. So if I want to create a really bright purple, then you can grab pretty much any of the pinks in this line, like magenta, of course. A little bit of magenta. It's going to start leaning towards that deeper blue, but a lot of magenta. And you're going to get a really bold, gorgeous purple. And it's right now I'm mixing it in with that ice blue to get that pastel kind of color. You can get really pastel-y granulating purples from the ice blue. Isn't it pretty? And if I add a little more of the magenta, then it leans more to the pinky, like violets, like a manganese violet. So see, like that one color, I can get manganese violet. I can get like a pastel-y purple. I can get any of the violet hues just from mixing the magenta, which is this one, and the Helio Cerulean. And you can also get really bold, bright greens. But we'll do mixing on another day because this is long enough. And I have to make those printables for you guys. Okay, so let me lift this up so you can see. I'm going to wait on taking the tape off until it's really dry. But see the indigo? See how dark it can get? The Delft blue will do the same thing too, and I lost it. I totally lost. Oh, there it is. It's in my... Ooh, guess what I just did? That's the Delft blue. But they're so similar. These are so similar. I do like the Delft blue better than the dark blue though. I'll just lift some of this off. Oops. Doesn't matter though. They're both the same. They're really super similar. This is a little more inky blue, and this is a little more gray. Okay. All I have to do is just go back. Once that dries, I can cover it with the actual pigment 498. Okay. So I think we got almost 3 glazes on everything, but we're going to end here. So Delft Blue, great inky blue. I actually like that better than the indigo as far as blue indigos. The Payne's gray is also really pretty. You can see it's very, very gray, like leaning blue. I would actually mix some blue more into this when I use it. But cobalt blue, yes. Helio turquoise, yes. Phthalo blue sapphire, yes. Maybe mountain blue, if you don't mind it being 3 colors, because it just is so fun to make those pastel, pastel blues with. The ice blue is also really interesting, but you could just get white and mix it with mountain blue. The ceruleans, you don't really need those because I'm much more like the Helio cerulean, and you can get the light shade to the very dark bold shade from this. So I wouldn't need these two if I just had this one, and then I would be able to mix. So I reach for this a lot more. And this is the cerulean I reach for even more than the phthalo blue because I just love the way it leans and it saves muddy mixes. The other one that saves money mixes, as you can see, it leans less green. This one leans more green. This one leans more blue. So those are the 2 different ones. Prussian is gorgeous if you like a good Prussian blue, but you could make that color. Yeah, so there's a really nice range of blues here, right? So next up, I guess we're going to be doing the greens. I stopped here. Cobalt cerulean, helio turquoise. So I stopped here. So we'll be doing helio turquoise and no, I stopped here. Cobalt green turquoise. So we're going to be doing all these greens. Prussian green is really gorgeous, and I'll show you the lights and the darks of them. And then we're almost done. We are almost done with our sheets. If you want to see the previous sheets that I have, here is the one for White Nights that I recently did. Love the granulating shades. They're so beautiful. As far as the White Night shades, some of them I love, some of them I cannot stand, so it's like, it's not a brand that I like everything. Here's a Danielle Smith one. Some of them I love, like Nickel Azo Yellow. Some of them I cannot stand. I just can't. The Danielle Smith blues, if you look at the Danielle Smith blues and then you look at the Schmincke blues, see how much more bold these are? They're like really bold. I can't really get that with the Danielle Smith blues. Only a couple of them. But if you want to compare all of the range compared to all of the range, this one performs better. And let's see. What else did we do? I think that's it so far, right? This one is, yeah, this was the Winsor Newton one. So many of these turned out to be different than they used to be. So we won't talk about them because that's just frustrating. And I think that's all she wrote for right now, guys. Okay, I am a swatchaholic here. This is the most swatching I have done in so long. I can't even tell you. So thank you so much for joining in. If you see anything you like, please let me know if you use the affiliate link, because at the end of the month, we do a drawing, and every purchase you make using the affiliate links that fund our group giveaways, I am going to give you a raffle ticket, and the raffle ticket is towards that end of month drawing, of which someone will win a nice prize. And the prize is decided based on the affiliate. So like if we earn a lot of money in the affiliate because you guys are using them like crazy, then whatever's left over from the giveaways from that month is going to go to that winner. And then we'll start over the next month. All right. Have a great one, guys. I hope this helps you and just gives you an insight into how I choose colors and why I choose certain colors over others. But, paint with what you love and what inspires you. If you see something you like, of course, paint with it, you know, and just enjoy your painting and your time, because that's, you only come along this way one time, right? You may as well spend it exactly how you want to. Be blessed. Happy painting.